Hey everyone, welcome to Part Time. Today I will be getting some first impressions of the Sellstrom front flip adapter and the Weldtube front flip adapter. I bought the Sellstrom from Amazon, which is priced at $37.99, but I got it on sale for $23.44, and the Weldtube adapter from weldlife.com for $39.99 plus shipping. Based on their size, weight, installation, and first impressions, I wanted to decide which adapter I wanted to run on my welding hood. So hopefully this helps some of y'all make that decision too. So let's get into it. So first up is the Sellstrom front adapter. So you'll go ahead and have your welding lens in here, flip this up to grind, and you've got a clear lens over here. One of the drawbacks to using these adapters is it adds a little bit of bulk and weight to them. So first I'd like to see what a normal sugar scoop hood is when it comes to how far this molding sticks out. The way I'll do that is I will take the face here and measure it to how much it sticks out from that face, and we're looking about right there, about half an inch. For this adapter, this back part goes on the inside of the hood and this goes on the outside of the hood, so the face of the hood is actually contacting right here. Here we are looking at 1 inch, so it adds half an inch to the welding hood, which isn't a big problem for most, but if you're welding in tight spots, it could be a little bit of a hindrance. So let's look at the weight. So by itself, we have 5.64 ounces or 159 grams, which that doesn't actually seem bad at all. The only issue is that because this is placed on the front of your hood, as well as it does stick out a little bit, that causes a problem when your pivot point is back here on your head. And when you're lifting your hood, it may have a hard time staying up. And when your hood is down, it may take a little bit more effort and a little bit more neck strain because all that weight is out up front. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore the addition of weight as well as bulk when it comes to this flip adapter. But I do have a few concerns and issues about this, which aren't a deal breaker. It's just kind of strange, really. So it came with this set of instructions that was inside of that front lens. You can see here that the adapter is here with all of its components, and it's oriented like this. Here we have the safety plate that is on the back side of the adapter, which is where you do your grinding and everything. And it came with this clear lens, which is pretty cool. I like that. So that's described here. And then the components go filter plate, gasket, retention spring, clear, cover plate. And the first instruction is to lift front visor, insert components into right slot, which is right here. Now right off the bat, you notice there's no instruction to install a clear lens up front. Obviously, go ahead and do that if you want. I don't know anyone who doesn't put a clear lens on the front of their welding lens. It just kind of makes sense to protect your welding lens, especially if you have a high dollar one. Most people put a clear cover plate on the back. Some people don't, just because they don't know as well, but you're definitely going to want to put a clear cover on the back, because when you're grinding, this is flipped up and that allows sparks and everything. That wasn't really an issue, it's just kind of weird. An actual concern is, as you can see here, this is that right slot that they're talking about in the instructions. A fixed lens has no problem going in and out. The problem is if you did want to run a auto darkening lens, it does not fit. But if you wanted to fix that, all you would have to do is get a Dremel, cut this out, make this slot a little wider, and you should have no problem. Now back to the instructions. The order goes, I'm adding in the clear lens, the filter plate or welding lens, the gasket, retention spring, and then the clear lens in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and install that in that order. And here we are at my final issue, is this retention spring, and this is all it is right here. Problem is, when you have 2 points of contact in the middle and then 2 on the side, you create this little seesaw effect. Very, very easy to push in. Now the last concern that I think is a pretty big one, especially when we take a look at our next adapter, is that in order to install this Sellstrom adapter, you need to actually cut out this whole front molding of your hood. It's pretty simple. There's a bunch of videos out there on how to do it and different ways to do it. Basically what you're going to do is take a grinder with a cutting blade or a Dremel, and you're going to cut along the edges of this molding, cut out holes here on the side that connect to that cutout of the molding. That hole allows this screw to fasten the front part of the adapter and this inside part of the adapter. If you don't want to cut your hood, it's kind of a deal breaker, you know. Now you have to remember that for a long time, this was kind of the only product out there when it comes to an aftermarket flip adapter for a sugar scoop hood, and it was just something you had to do. If you wanted to put an auto darkening lens, you'd have to cut this out. If you had to deal with the bulk, you had to deal with the size. It was what it was. With that said, we finally have a competitor when it comes to front flip adapters for your sugar scoop hood, and that is made by Weldtube. So let's go check that out. This is the Weldtube front flip adapter, and as you can already tell, it comes in a much slimmer profile than the Sellstrom adapter. But don't get confused, because the installation is a lot different from the Sellstrom. On the Sellstrom, we've talked about having to cut out this molding to put on. This goes directly on top of the molding, so you actually have to account for the height of the molding itself plus the adapter. So when I could just kind of dry fit it like that, we're actually looking at 1 3/8 inches. So we knew the Sellstrom stuck out 1 inch from the face of this hood here. So this actually, despite how thin and small of a profile this is, it actually sticks out 3/8 of an inch more than the Sellstrom. So keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and see its weight. So we know that the Sellstrom came in at 5.64 ounces. This is 2.57 ounces or 73 grams. Quite a bit lighter than the Sellstrom. I feel like even though this sticks out a little bit more, because it's so much lighter, it kind of makes up for it. But of course, I'd have to see that for myself with more hood time with this adapter on. One thing I really like about this adapter is the installation itself. So let's go ahead and look at the instructions. It tells you step by step on how to install it and remove everything. It also gives you this QR code, and I'm guessing that this is the video that Weldtube has on their YouTube channel that shows you an instructional video on how to install and disassemble the adapter. Unlike the Sellstrom, the only modification you have to do is sand these nubs off that were here on the hood. And the cool thing is they provide some 80 grit sandpaper for you to do that yourself, and it took maybe 2 minutes to get that flush. While we're talking about what came with the adapter, again, we had the instructional pamphlet, the sandpaper. It also came with not 1 sticker, not 2 stickers, but this isn't just a piece of paper. This is actually a sticker as well. So it comes with 3 stickers, and that's pretty cool. It does not come with a clear lens like the Sellstrom did. The 1 clear lens that it came with, even though you really need 3. But I mean, like I said, I do appreciate the fact that they did come with the clear lens, but this does not come with one. The components, all it consists of is this gasket here and this lens retainer. It's very simple, just a few things that you really need, and you don't have to go ahead and cut up your hood. I really like that. I think it's very innovative and simple. And just a quick rundown on how to install this. These tabs here hook on the inside of your hood, and they just snap in just like that. So on the inside, we just have this clear lens. There's that snap. Once your clear lens is in, you go ahead and put all your old hardware back in, starting with the gasket, this kind of filler part, and the retainer, and there you have your grinding lens. Pretty simple. For the welding lens, put your first clear lens in. On this adapter, you can run auto darkener or fixed lens. And the only thing different is when you run an auto darkener, because it's a little thicker, you don't have to put this gasket in. When you put a fixed lens in, you'll want to put this gasket in next. But since we don't need that, we'll go ahead and put the other clear lens in, and that'll protect your lens while you're grinding and this is flipped up. And then you put your retainer in. That is it. And this has no play in it whatsoever. It doesn't bend, it doesn't seesaw like the Sellstrom does. And there you have it. And not to mention, if you do ever get tired of using this, or you do want to end up trying this for whatever reason, that just comes off. And then you can just run it back to the way you did it before. That's one of the coolest parts. So after looking at both of these adapters, I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm going to be using Weldtube's adapter. Other than the fact that this sticks out a little bit further than the Sellstrom does, and the price of course, I think it beats the Sellstrom in every other category. And that includes looks. To be honest, at first I thought it looked pretty goofy, but it is really starting to grow on me, and the more the Sellstrom is becoming to look like just a hunk of plastic, really. So in the comments, please let me know what you would pick out of the two of these. And if you already own one of these adapters, help us all out and let us know what you think about them. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and thanks for stopping by.